This is the Caravan Bazaar, a market in the center of Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh. It is getting dark, but the streets are still crowded. Everybody is on the move. People are unloading and selling goods, begging, laying on the blacktop. Most of these people have come to the capital from the provinces in the hopes of making some money. Those with a monthly income below $15 cannot afford a hotel. They sleep right here outside, on bicycles, in bamboo baskets. Those without any possessions just sleep on the bare ground. Those who have decided to at least semi-permanently settle down in the city live in the backyard of the market. Trains rattle by every hour, but people have long been used to the noise and the fumes here. Bangladesh is a country in South Asia. It is bordered by India on the northwest and by Myanmar on the southeast. From the south, the country is washed by the Indian Ocean. Bangladesh is one of the poorest and overpopulated countries in the world. On a land area of 144 square kilometers, approximately half of the territory of Italy, live something like 140 million people, or about the total population of Russia. Nobel Prize winner Muhammad Yunis wears sandals and the national dress to work. It would be unbearably hot in a business suit. It is a 5-minute walk from his apartment to his office on the 6th floor of his own skyscraper in the center of Dhaka. The working day of one of the most successful bankers in the world begins at 10 o'clock. Morning newspapers, telephone calls, reports from his employees, interviews, and twice a day, a meeting with department heads.
When you're little, you want to be the policeman, you want to be the fireman, and then you want to be the pilot, you want to fly the plane. So whatever fancies you, whatever attracts your imagination, you want to be that. So after that, then you plan whether you want to be this or you want to be that. At one time, I wanted to be a lawyer. I thought that's the best profession to be in. Then gradually, as I was going to university, I thought I'll be a teacher. And ultimately, I became a teacher and I enjoyed teaching. And when I finished my university degree, the first job I took was being a teacher, a lecturer in a college. But I never thought of being a banker.
According to his colleagues and relatives, Yunus has been waiting for his Nobel Peace Prize for over 20 years.
Well, the Nobel Prize is an amazing prize. Suddenly it puts you in a very different position. Things that we try to explain to people, we try to reach out to people to tell how strongly we feel about certain things. It's very difficult to get their attention. all these years. But suddenly, with the Nobel Prize, we can tell it to anybody. The doors which were closed before, suddenly they get open. People who paid no attention to us now paid a lot of attention to us. If we screamed in the past and nobody heard what we said, now we whisper, everybody hears it. So all the floodlight of the world is on us.
Muhammad Yunus began creating the Grameen Empire in the early 70s. Having returned to his homeland from the US with a PhD, he became a professor at the University of Chittagong, an agricultural province in the south of Bangladesh. The country had just gained independence from Pakistan. However, independence for Bangladesh came with chaos in politics and in the economy. Day after day, as he walked from home to the university, Yunus realized that all the theories that he had been taught in America and that he then taught his students were useless and did not work in Bangladesh. Here he was teaching the ideal economy while right beyond the university walls, people were starving.
And I did a lot of small things, irrigations, poultry, and whatever small things I could do at that time. Then I saw how people are being mistreated, tortured by the moneylenders by lending tiny little money. So I took a student of mine and went around in the village to make a list of people who borrowed from the moneylenders. When my list was complete, there were 42 names on my list, and the total money they borrowed was $27. And I was shocked that for such a small amount of money, people suffer so much. And I realized that the problem is tough, but the solution seemed to me is very simple. All I have to do is to give this $27 to the 42 people, and they can return the money to the moneylenders, and they will be free from the moneylenders. So I was very excited by the idea that the solution is so simple. And I did that, and it worked.
Actually, Yunus had become a moneylender, but on terms that were beneficial both for him and for the poor.
So I wanted to check again. I lend them money again, and it worked the same way. Everybody said, no, first time you are lucky, you got your money back, but next time you will not get it. And next time I got it. And we said, third time you will not be lucky. I did the third time. I was lucky. People were paying back. So gradually I became confident that it is not the luck. It is the system which is working. Something that we put together works. And we're not sure if we can make it big, but step by step we wanted to expand it. So from 1 village to 2 villages, 20 villages, 50 villages, it still work.
Why not try to do more, thought Yunus. He went to a bank on the university campus and proposed to offer credit to poor people. He was sure that the bank would not object because the sums were so small, but the bank refused. To grant loans to poor people? It is nonsense. They cannot even give any guarantees. In 1983, Muhammad Yunus established his Grameen Bank. Being a professor, he became a banker, a special banker for a special bank. He became a banker for poor men. The Grameen Bank, in translation from Bengali, means the countryside bank. The only activity of the bank is to grant microloans to poor people. A narrow but well-built road leads from the capital to Chittagong. Near the villages, the shoulders of the road turn into an endless market with permanent traffic jams. Air conditioning in cars, if any, works without let-up on the road. Apparently, this is the local rule of thumb. Take advantage of the boom you are lucky to have participated in, and do not be ashamed of the status you have acquired. After all, it is better to turn into an icicle than to perspire like a poor rickshaw driver. Yunus was the son of a well-to-do jeweler. The schools where he went were considered to be the most prestigious ones in the province. Nowadays, after one of the school's former pupils has become world famous, children do not have to be told twice that education is important.
Yeah, why not? I was an ex-student in this school.
It's the most reputed school in Chiran. Culture school is the most reputed school in Chiran.
I know he is the student from a long period of time. Recently, I joined this school. I am also proud Dr. Yunus. He is the students of this school. I am also very, very proud to him.
Numerous relatives of the banker still live in the house where the young Yunus used to dream of a career as a policeman, a firefighter, or a pilot.
This is the house built by my father. So he has assigned specific part of the house to a specific son. So they live there. They're happy with their accommodation. It's a very comfortable accommodation. So nobody ever thought of moving away from that. They have all the past history behind it, family history. So we all kind of assemble together in that house whenever during festivals or whatever occasion comes. This is our kind of family gathering. We enjoy being together. Everybody comes home and we have a family get-together.
Do you have maybe some photographs of...
Yunus's mother taught him to help poor people and be compassionate towards them. A strong and resolute woman who had 14 children, she managed to maintain discipline in the family, and at the same time, she helped those who were in need. Yunus conducted his first economic experiments in the small village of Jobra, which is located not far from the university. Today, the paths here are paved with bricks, the few shops are full of food products and other goods, and women no longer cover their faces in public.
On other managers as well. The Blades' 2-1 victory over Calvin was the perfect gift. This win over Reading was also the perfect season.
Yunus could not have been successful with his initial plans without the help of his student, Nurjian Bigun. A strange man had no right even to talk to a local woman in the village. Nurjian acted as Yunus's representative. Today, she is a top manager, the number 3 person on Grameen's board.
Dr. Yunus cannot see the woman face because women cannot come to him. So what happened, I'm going to the women house and talk to them and giving their message to the Dr. Yunus and Dr. Yunus' message to the women.
The microcrediting model is as simple in terms of its mechanism as it is complicated in terms of all the nuances in the borrower's psychology. The first loan may be no more than 700 taka, or $10, a significant amount for a local resident. However, it has to be repaid within a year, and the money has to be paid back on a weekly basis. It is mostly women that take microloans. A woman, by virtue of her nature, tends to take care of her children and family first, while a man tends to spend more money on himself.
Meeting ka shuru chingla junu postu tek dui ek dui ek dui shawai aram ho apa me jake.
Another feature of the Grameen's microloan program, the loan is granted to a single person, but each borrower must be a member of a group that consists of 5 people. This rule was set up from the beginning of the activity. Yunus noticed that poor people operate better in groups. It is easier for them to make decisions. And vice versa. If a poor man is alone, he or she feels like one of God's forsaken. He becomes afraid of everything, and thus his or her conduct could become unpredictable. Liability for the loan is based on a collective guarantee. Money is given to a group of 5 women, each of whom gives her word to the others, but does not have to answer for her credit alone. To an outsider, the credit operations in the rural branch might look like a meeting of cult worshippers. This is partially true. Women must swear allegiance to the bank. However, these meetings help to discipline them, help them to realize their responsibility, make them work harder and better for their own good. Yunus understood that if one wanted to work with poor men, he had to deeply understand their psychology. A Muslim woman who keeps age-old traditions is only going to spend time in her village, her ancestral home. The word bank is something alien and fearful. She will not ever think to come to a modern office and ask a man behind a glass panel. Yunus found a solution. If a client will not go to a bank, the bank will go to the client. Business is to be done at the client's home. It is a very important rule for the bank. Nur Nahar took her first loan quite a short while ago. She bought a mobile phone and began providing communication services to the villagers. Most villages in Bangladesh lack telephone lines. The business used to bring up to 200% profit.
I'll go call them. Hello. Hello, Shaki.
Lately, fewer people have been turning to Nur Nahar to ask for a call. Now, many Jobra residents can afford their own phones. But the phone lady, following the advice of the Grameen people, converted her telephone business into trade. Now you can both make a call from her shop and buy some food. The Grameen Bank has several loan programs, but usually a new borrower gets a loan for the development of a profitable business. If a woman knows how to weave baskets, money is given for the purchase of raw materials or equipment. If her husband is a rickshaw driver or works as a hired worker on farms or fish farms, the bank grants a loan for redemption of a bicycle or lease of the land or water pool. The work becomes a family business that definitely can increase income and at the same time strengthen relationships between the wife and the husband. I have been with the Grameen Bank for 12 years. We used to live in a shanty. The first loan was for 2,000 taka. It was a lot of money for us back then. With this money, I bought a cow, and began selling milk. The neighbors looked strangely at me. Why are you taking Christian money? They will cheat you, make you a slave. I don't know where such ideas come from. It was hard, but I wouldn't listen to them. I took another credit and bought another cow, then a plot of land, then I opened a shop. Then I built a cowshed that cost me 1,000,000 taka. Now I have 2 such cowsheds. My husband bought pedicabs and began renting them. Now he has 30 of those. We have a big house. The whole family lives in it. I am happy. I began with 2,000 taka. Now I earn 120,000 taka a year. I have great plans for the future. I promised myself, as long as I live, I'll do business with Grameen. Who is the head of your family? I have a business in the city, rickshaw, and she looks after the kids, the cows, the house. In the morning and in the evening, I do my best to help her, and during the day, all housework is on her shoulders. Generally, we plan everything together. Presently, we will have a turnover of 500,000 taka a year. There are 5 more houses like this. Thank God. When Yunus got the Nobel Prize, we told the neighbors, "You see?" And you used to revile him. For me, he is a good person. For others, maybe no. But he has been recognized by the world.
When we are making the law for Grameenbank, I proposed that the bank should not be, Grameenbank should not be allowed to work in the city. My argument was, if we work both in cities and the rural areas, somehow there will be pressure on us from the government and everybody, and for the well-informed people or influential people, to put pressure to have the Grameenbank expand in the city quickly. And then city becomes attractive to the poor people from the village to come to the city, because either you get a job, because everybody comes to the city to find a job. If you don't have a job, there's Grameenbank, you can take a loan, do something. Then our intention was to help people stay in the village. Because when you come to the city, it's the men who is coming to the city, leaving behind the women. So we thought we should be making villages attractive instead of city attractive. So we thought, let's have this bank only in the village, so that someone who wants to go to the city has to think twice. Should I go to the city and face an uncertain world, or be in the village, take a loan, and start my own life here in the village and stay with my family? So gradually, village will be attractive.
Loans give villagers incentive to work, whether it is breeding livestock, weaving baskets, or making mosquito nets. Here a family leased a pond and began breeding fish. Even their employees realize that unless they work hard enough, there will not be enough fish. Therefore, lessees will incur losses, and workers will not be able to earn good wages. Formerly, I was a loader. I worked each day. Then my wife and I decided to take a loan to organize a fish farm. We have been breeding fish for 5 years. The larger the loan, the larger the revenue. Our life changed completely. We have a house, cows, and land. Our children have grown up and graduated from school. 2 of our daughters are already married. At first, we put spawn in the pool. The fish grow for 3 months, and once this period ends, we go to the market. The fish weigh ½ a kilogram, but if bred for a year, they can weigh up to 1½ kilograms. So we have 200 to 300 kilograms per 3 months and more than a ton per year. Isn't it great? Well, frankly speaking, we have 8 pools, so we sell fish all year long. In this family, who work in a creative business, they have realized that more does not mean better.
আমার নাম শিউলি হোসেন আমি 11 বছর আগে গ্রামীণকে
I take black clay, we make vases, jugs, and some embellishments, and then we burn them in furnaces and then paint them. It's simple. Then we pack them up and sell them wholesale for 20 to 30 taka. I plan to build a mill in the future where I want to utilize not only hand labor, but also contemporary machinery. I want my goods to be sold abroad, too. I became a member of the Graminbank 11 years ago. Before that, I was making these vases alone. I even had a little store, but I lacked money. My friends advised me to take a loan. I showed my business to the Grameenbank's representatives, and they were very satisfied. For the first time, I took 7,000. Next year, 20,000. Now, I owe the bank 100,000, but my business is developing. So today, it is not a very large sum to me. I have 11 employees. I've built this house. My daughters are studying at school. Thanks to Allah, we do well. Poverty has no limits. Even among poor people, there are the poorest, the indigent ones. But the bank has a special program intended for beggars, according to the Yunus classification, struggling members of the Grameen. Usually the beggars are old and sick people. They are granted long-term loans with a minimal weekly rate. The bank insures their lives and the granted loan. They are not prohibited to go begging. The bank tries not to change the day-to-day activity of borrowers. Would you like some fish? Yes, a bit, please, for 5 taka. I walk the village and sell fish and shupari. I'm selling when I feel like selling and when I'm able to. My family consists of 5 persons. My son, his wife, their children, and grandchildren. They live a bit better. When Yunus was awarded the prize, I was given 1,000 taka, but I was the only one who got it, and my arm had a fracture. Thanks to Allah, today was a lucky day. I sold a lot. Everything is in the hands of Allah, not the hands of men. The borrowers, the same as shareholders, have a right to earn dividends. Until now, however, the bank could not transfer dividends on the borrowers' accounts due to a special agreement with the government. From the very beginning, the government tried to impose an income tax on the bank, but microcredits are not subject to such tax. So there were disputes between the government and the bank, which resulted in the following agreement. The government exempts the bank from income tax if all revenues of the bank are collected in a special reconstruction fund. So, according to this agreement, the bank was able to hold the borrowers' dividends in that fund, but could not make them payable. The idea of the Reconstruction Fund has been a success. Bangladesh often suffers disasters such as floods or hurricanes. Frequently, poor people lose everything and become insolvent. They have to start from scratch. The assets of the Reconstruction Fund allow them to quickly rebuild their business without affecting the financial stability of the bank. I'm selling cakes, eggs, and chapari. Before, I lived on the street. Now I have an adobe, and it even has a door. There is also a bench and a mat to sleep on. I bought a goatling, and when it grows, I'll sell it and buy two. Moreover, every day I collect 3 or 4 kilograms of rice. I return some portion of my profit to the Grameenbank. When I have no profit, I return nothing. But if I return nothing at all, I will not be granted a loan next time. Life is definitely difficult, but at least I do not starve anymore. The bank's employees meet every morning in the local office that serves the nearest villages and settlements, makes a plan, and goes to the villages and spends the day there. If a woman is already a borrower, an agent of the Grameenbank monitors the business that was opened on the borrowed money, gives advice, and offers new loan programs. If a woman is not a borrower yet, the agent asks whether she has a house, who is her husband, what does he do, how many children do they have, and do the children attend school, and what do they think they would invest money in if they are granted a loan. Once a week, a Grameenbank employee holds a meeting in the Grameen Center. Usually, it is a place easily accessible to every woman of the village. At the meetings, they discuss the problems of each borrower. It is likely that the bank's agent would know more about the women than their own husbands.
We have 2,400 branches right now, and more branches are always added as we go along. And we have 24,000 staff spread out all over the country. And not only we have this large number of people working, our work procedure is also very tough. We have to meet all these 7.2 million borrowers. So this is quite a tough job, and we are always dealing with cash, liquid money. So it makes it more difficult, because if you want to steal this money, it's very easy, because nobody's watching you. You have the money with you. There's no second person with you. So you can just walk away, disappear. Nobody will catch you. It's very difficult to find you out. Even if the staff doesn't steal the money, somebody on the street, somebody in the village can stop the guy. Give me the money. Here is a gun, here is a knife. If you don't give me the money, I'm going to attack you. And here is the money, 40,000 taka, 30,000 taka. Take it, don't attack me. It's possible. But a strange thing, those things don't happen. We do this millions of times over these 31 years, but we don't have many experiences, many incidents of such nature. So that is one, how it happens, because in the village, everybody knows everybody. This is one protection. You can't run away with the money very far. Sometimes we are attacked, our staff is attacked, people 4, 5, 6, 10 young people attack one person and get the money and run away with the money, with motorbikes, with cars, or whatever. But our common experience is within 24 hours, people get caught. The staff not stealing comes from another side, because if you steal and if you get caught, immediately you're punished, meaning that you lose your job.
In order to encourage units to work, Yunus invented a 5-star classification system. 5 stars mean that the main objective is achieved. Each borrower of the unit, approximately 3,000 families, overcame the poverty level. The concept of work, empirically determined in Jobra, is still used by the Grameenbank all over the country. When Yunus was awarded the Nobel Prize, the Grameenbank of Bangladesh had 2,431 branches, conducted its activity in 78,649 villages, had 23,345 employees, and serviced more than 7 million people. From the day of its foundation, the bank has granted loans of $6.31 billion US. 98.61% of the loans were paid back, except in 3 cases, each year was profitable. The Grameenbank has a lot of shocking peculiarities. For example, the activity of the bank is based only on trust. The borrower is not signing any papers when he is granted a loan. The bank does not need it because if money is not returned, the bank will never sue a defaulter. The bank, together with the borrower, will rather try to find out the cause of the failure, grant another loan, reduce rates, or increase the return period, everything in order not to abandon a man. A special program of flexible loans was developed for these kinds of situations. For the Grameenbank, as for any other bank, it is important that borrowers return granted loans. In order to facilitate the return of a debt, the Grameen offers a concept that supposes equal weekly payments. Thus, the portions are so small that they do not affect the budget of a poor family. The Grameenbank is always developing new loan programs, which at first glance can seem exotic. For example, loans on construction of toilets or wells, or loans for support of seasonal field work or purchase of a mobile phone. Thanks to the Grameenbank, a lot of poor people have become small entrepreneurs. The bank offers loan programs for micro-enterprises. The average amount of such a loan is approximately 21,000 taka, or approximately $315 US. The largest sum that was granted was for the purchase of a truck and was for $19,897 US. Former poor men know that it is profitable to remain Grameenbank's clients. The interest rates are more attractive than those of state banks.
Bangladesh has a very high potential. It's a very strategically located country. It can link many countries together. It can link Nepal, Bhutan with the sea because they don't have access to sea. So Bangladesh could be their gateway, and Bangladesh can benefit from that. And it can also link the eastern India to the outside world because Bangladesh can be a kind of in the crossroad of all these countries, and also connecting China with Bay of Bengal and Myanmar with Bay of Bengal. So with that kind of configuration, Bangladesh has a very high future. And also young people in Bangladesh are very creative people, very energetic. So they can become in the knowledge economy, in the global knowledge economy, they can play a very important role. So I see Bangladesh future as a very bright future. I see Bangladesh young people can change the country very fast, and a possibility that soon we can create a country where there'll be no poor person. So we can create a poverty-free country. And we say when we can make it, and we'll create a poverty museum so that the young people who never saw poverty in the country can go to the museum to see what it used to be in the country, what poverty used to be like. And I'm sure they'll be horrified to see what the poverty was all about. And they will be so happy that it's no longer with us.